Not completely evil Axis countries meeting. Not completely evil Axis countries? Are we talking about the same Axis? The alliance we were fighting against during World War II to not take over the whole planet. All right, let's see who this is. Oh, that's right. Finland. We always forget Finland. Now, Finland as an Axis member is a little bit complicated, but also this is an interesting meme because there's another country I think you could maybe also include, but we'll get into that. Remember that the Finns were invaded first by the Soviet Union. Then when the Germans went after the Soviets, they just happened to both kind of be on the same side at the same time. They're like a mutual enemy. However, do not forget about the Lapland War when in November 1944, Finland then declared war on Germany. Kind of an important thing to note. So maybe this meme is correct, but I can't help but think of one other member. Another member that kind of didn't really have much of a choice in the matter. I'm looking at Thailand here when Japan pretty much forcibly made them help their war efforts. And what was Thailand gonna do? Just say no and I guess get massacred. I guess by that logic though, you could consider some of these other countries. It didn't stop Denmark from declaring war on Germany and lasting literally 6 hours though. They didn't care if they were gonna get obliterated or not. Anyways, quite the thought-provoking meme. Imperial Germans, why are we always portrayed as barbarians? Also, Imperial Germans wear skulls, spikes, and birds of prey on their heads. But all these glorious mustaches, did you even consider that part? That balances out. The Princess of Wales is missing, the spare prince is in exile, and the king is treating his cancer with herbs. If this was the 1300s, France would be looking to invade. It doesn't need to be the 1300s. Maybe they still are. Ever consider that? The president does kind of look like a James Bond villain here. Meanwhile, during the 1200s, Genghis Khan returning from plunder. I mean, he must have been doing this on the daily, right? Considering 16 million men might be direct descendants of him. Oh no, step brother. Feeling depressed? Without purpose? Need to reflect on your feelings? Do what men have always done. Join the French Foreign Legion. It's really that simple. We gotta get back to our roots. Meanwhile, the 1943 French army. Here we got the Free Frenchmen, the French Pied Noirs, the ex-Vichyistes, talking about Vichy France, the Sephardic Jews, the Moroccan Goumrier demonic noises, the colonials, the Algerians and Tunisians, the foreigners, the Spanish, with this guy reading a French newspaper. His name is Miguel, but they called him Pierre. Women, the boys from the Pacific, and well, the bandits. Does my sign say Corsican? We contributed a lot. These people really just feel like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie from so many different origins coming together. I don't know why I chose Guardians of the Galaxy there, but I think I just watched that movie, that's why. My 16-year-old sister just sent this to me. The American education system is in shambles. For this assessment, you will create 10 tweets from the trenches in World War I. As you create your tweets, be sure to put yourself in the shoes of the Western Front. You may choose what side you wish to represent, what you want to do. Cut to breaking news! LeBron James reportedly ordered an infantry attack with no artillery support. What an idiot. How could you fall for this? My boy's cooked to think he didn't know that, but he did know about the Chaos Emeralds. When the only reason your country exists is so Germany isn't too OP. Oof, what do you guys have against Austria? This is just mean. They tried being together for a little while, but things ended up being too silly. Remember, they were pretty thick boys during World War I. Their only problem was they were just Yugoslavia, but 10 times worse. Like, yeah, of course this wasn't going to work out, obviously. Of course, after the Entente won, though, they could have just given Austria to Germany since they're both German-speaking nations, but maybe, yeah, they would have become too OP. One of the first things Germany did during World War II is the Anschluss, when they just annexed Austria. It reminds me of Belgium for whatever reason. People just say it was literally crafted just to be a speed bump. This guy be like, I'm gonna invent the periodic table so people don't have to memorize the elements' properties. Meanwhile, chemistry teachers making the students memorize the table. Literally his reaction looking down at us from the heavens. What was the point of my life's work? He's probably thinking. Maybe not his life's work, but a pretty important contribution to humanity. I swear, sometimes I think the education system is just bored and doesn't know what to do with us, so they just make you memorize things for like almost no reason at all. I feel the same way about like certain math formulas. Like if I need to use that math formula, I'm literally just gonna look it up. Why do I have to memorize it? Just give me the damn formula. I sound like Plankton right now. Modern philosophers, time to talk about boring nonsense. I'll get a soy coffee versus ancient Greek philosophers. Nice physique, bro. Thanks, bro. Let's discuss the meaning of life later. I think it's starting to come full circle again, though. I'm just saying, all the modern TikTok philosophers are like bodybuilders at the same time. Romanian Russian relations during World War I. The Germans are invading Romania. Can we store our nation's entire gold reserves in your Tsardom ally? Meanwhile, Vladimir Lenin, what a convenient way to spread world Bolshevism. A lot easier to do that with 100 tons of gold. Thanks for that, Russian ally. This is when the Romanian villain arc began. Meanwhile, in forgotten technology, we have the pyramids of Giza from 2500 BC, the Easter Island statues, this heat ray from 212 BC, and finally 155mm proximity fuses. This is a little bit more recent than these other technologies. Proximity fuzzies detonates an explosive device when it is close to a target rather than directly hitting the target. Whoa! I've seen that before in video games. The United States Naval Doctrine during the Cold War summarized: your stupid fleet will not matter if we invade Europe, Americans. Our submarines will make your logistics to Europe untenable. No worry, we'll just nuke the oceans. Excuse me? Did you say nuke the oceans? Your submarines cannot reach our convoys if we nuke the ocean first. What a beautiful nuke doctrine we had for the 50s, 60s, and 70s there. That reminds me of the French doctrine. Like, they were just gonna basically nuke the crap out of West Germany, their ally, if the Soviets invaded. Desert Storm, 1990 to 1991. We have Saddam Hussein realizing that he has $50 billion in debt. Not happy about that. He still has the 4th greatest army in the world, though. I always forget this fact. He had a very large military, surprisingly. Saddam sends his elite troops over to Kuwait and annexes it, and this is literally going to piss off the entire world. Not knowing what to do. Oh, I think they kind of did know what to do. Maybe they were like, for like 2.4 seconds. Can you send some troops on our soil? Why, says the USA. Iraq is posing threat to us. Fine. Sends 1 million troops to the Saudi Arabian desert on Operation Desert Shield. Saddam, after getting ultimatum from the USA, wait, that was way too fast, to retreat from Kuwait, he did not. Air Force, after destroying entire air defense, power grid, and communication network in under 10 minutes. The logistics of Operation Desert Storm was insane. Tanks rolling through Kuwait, full freedom on its way. Well, first of all, are they going to show the Wikipedia box with Saddam watching his soldiers surrender by the tens of thousands? I mean, he had the world's 4th largest army, but they got completely obliterated. Kuwait has been liberated, and they are very happy now. This is the Wikipedia box I was talking about. We have Iraq versus the US, UK, France, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Kuwait with a coalition of, well, the entire freaking world. This was just really, really poorly timed by Saddam's part here. Like, the Cold War, after decades, was finally coming to an end, since 1 year earlier, Germany united, or to be exact, the fall of the Berlin Wall happened. So there was a lot of people that didn't have much to do, but they had quite the military ready to go. I wonder if the Soviets saw this and were just like, all right, yeah, we give up. We don't want to have to fight that ever. I invested heavily in motorization of my military so my infantry can keep up with our tanks. I had some pretty slick half-track designs to help my infantry keep up with my tanks, says Nono Germany. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union be like, infantry can keep up with tanks if infantry is on the tanks. Wait, your tanks are moving faster than your infantry? Oh, Britain, bless your innocent soul. I mean, this was one of the most important new doctrines when it came to World War II, because during World War I, it was all about just tanks following the infantry. Then Germany realized, wait, what if the infantry can keep up with the tanks? They can take things way faster. That's why a lot of countries fell so fast during Blitzkrieg. For you, the day you were outnumbered, outgunned, and completely surrounded without fire support or reinforcements was the worst day of your life. Here's 1944. Another place in 1944, I think this is Vietnam in 1954. Here's 2022, but for paratroopers, it was just Tuesday. Yeah, they've been pretty much used to this for like the last 8 decades. They've been outnumbered, outgunned, and completely surrounded without fire support since 1941. I know it seems cool, but I would rather not be forced to be a paratrooper if I was in the military. I don't think I'm based enough for that. Somehow the CIA is always one step ahead of us. They are geniuses. I don't know how they do it. Okay, now stare at that goat and see if you can kill it with your mind. I'm gonna sit back behind this camera and film it all. CIA tactics were clearly beyond our understanding. The men who stare at goats. Oh look, it's Vietnam pushing Cambodia into the Khmer Rouge. Meanwhile, only a quick second later, this is kind of a funny way to put it. Nice that Vietnam got him out of that hole, because that was a very deep and horrifying hole. RIP Cambodia at that time. Abraham Lincoln grew out his beard after an 11-year-old Grace Bedell wrote him a letter saying he would be more handsome and less sad. He visited her after getting elected to thank her. Everyone liked that. Sometimes history can actually be pretty wholesome, surprisingly. I'm pretty sure he only got elected because of the beard. Look at that thing. Have you seen him without it? It's kind of horrifying. My movie's gonna be a dark take on the Middle Ages. Every scene will be cloudy with lots of mud. We have beautiful brown leather shirts for our actors. guns, no helmets. This is gonna make it big in the genre, no other movie like it. Why are they always the same? Why can't we have a medieval movie in the Dark Ages where like everything is colorful? Make like a bunch of clowns. They had gestures back then. Romans, after 800 exhausting years, the Roman Empire, finally, it's done. He's looking pretty exhausted though. Meanwhile, some Greeks, just after 11 years, nice warm-up boys, says Alexander the Great. This is referring to Macedonia when they took over pretty much everything. Didn't last quite as long as the Romans though, you have to admit that, but still pretty epic. He deserves a lot of credit for that. The Soviets only give 1 out of 2 of their men rifles. They give the other half submachine guns. Aww. I could absolutely see myself being this dude if I had heard that. Like if I was a Soviet and I got handed a rifle, like I'm like, oh yeah! Ha, loser, you're not getting nothing. Sorry gentlemen, but you can't display your flag anymore. This is now German soil. I hate you Prussian swine. Don't worry gentlemen, I found a solution. A way of defiance. I present to you the Prussian swine. At least I'm assuming that's where this is going. The most Danish thing ever. They literally breeded a new type of pig resembling the Danish flag, the Denmark protest pig. They did not call it the Prussian swine pig. I guess it's important that, yeah, like if it's supposed to resemble the Danish flag, I see why they didn't do that. Japanese people on the 15th of August, 1945, tuning into the radio to listen to their demigod emperor's voice, trying to understand a word of what the freak he's trying to say. Is this referring to, is it MacArthur that's talking in this radio transmission? Oh, no, it was still Hirohito. He used formal and archaic words, which was barely understandable to the common folks. So basically listening to the broadcast as Hirohito was telling his nation that they had to surrender, I can only really think of one thing. Remember that one scene from Shrek when Pinocchio's trying to not lie? It's pretty much like that. Stop it! Well, I mean, at least he didn't lie. And big thanks to my patrons.
DrewI'mYourDadBackWithTheMilkLookOutside.
Kansas was mentioned.
DoOOCHBAGGINS.
aPhatNarwhal.
Carmel
Amateur Archaeology.
DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood.
Fredrik
Henrik
Tibblin.
Hedlund.
InquisitorXarius.
Traven's annoying friend.
KirinoIsBestGirl.
LuxembourgLover.
RyeThePie.
I love
The
Tambre.
Mexican 760.
And ZaneyBoi.